Jurassic World 4 is out pretty soon, relatively speaking. 1 year, 1 week, and 2 days from today, the brand new Jurassic film, whatever it's going to be called, is going to hit the cinemas worldwide, or at least hopefully, July 2nd, 2025. Now, because that is so soon, they really wanted a quick turnaround on this film. Inevitably, more and more set photos and production leaks and stuff like that keep coming out. No big spoilery information or anything like that today, I would say, just more set dressing, little hints as to the plot, some really cool stuff. We've had a lot of set photos over the last week, and I've collated them all in this video, and we can go through, let's discuss them, speculate a little bit, and make some little connections with the rest of the Jurassic franchise as established. First though, a quick shout out again to Real News Hawaii for the first set of photos we're going to look at. They again do a fantastic job collating all that information, bringing it to us on Twitter, from various different sources and also their own sources. And again, if you want to keep up to date on Jurassic Park production, they're a really good Twitter account to follow. Let's take a look at these photos. The first one is the most low-key of the bunch. I've got a soft launch to this. But we can see the filming here. So remember, they're filming in Thailand, but the setting is in South America. That's going to be important later on. But as far as we know, they're returning to the islands again. We don't know what island. It could be Nublar, it could be Sauna, could be one of the other 5 deaths, could be one of the other islands entirely in the region. We really don't know for sure what island it's meant to be. But we know they're returning to an island. And this gives me Isla Sorna vibes, I've got to say. We've got that spotlight in the distance for some dramatic lighting. We've got this mist and fog rolling in, they've got a smoke machine going. Definitely Isla Sorna vibes more than Isla Nublar vibes. But let's look at some of the more exciting ones. So these two photos are really interesting. So these are architecture. This is stone architecture. This is ruins, essentially, sort of left in the jungle. This bit on the left in particular, there is actually a stone staircase there. They didn't build that, but then they put more fake stone over the stone to protect it, and also to give it this kind of more ancient kind of aesthetic. And on the right you can see there they're building an arch, and it looks like a giant pair of wooden doors are maybe sitting in the middle of that archway. It's hard to tell, but either way, we're seeing various stages of production here. They're building these ruins into the jungle, which again isn't something we've really seen, and we'll talk about this again later on as well, but it's not something we've really seen in the films. But there are references to this throughout the canon. There is canonical existence of these ruins and what they might be related to. But also, I very easily buy that Isla Sorna in particular could have a whole section filled with ruins that we just never got to see in the film. It would suit it perfectly, in my opinion. I decided to take a closer look at the ruins on the left. So because we're in South America, if we're going to use an established South American group of people, then the Mayans and the Aztecs are kind of the two that come to mind. So I was comparing the architecture of the two to see if any stood out. Now the piece on the right is a Mayan archway entrance door sort of thing, and of course the one on the left is from the Jurassic World set photo. To me, these are very, very similar. You got that kind of layered sort of stone that comes up in the middle with various different layers and sort of junctions in it. The way it's carved in the sort of the squares, but then the curves is also, I think, very Mayan. So if it is a South American established peoples like that, I'm going to guess that we're going Mayan rather than Aztec. There is a third option, however. This would be interesting if they included this, but this of course is Nema Cruz from Jurassic Park the game, and Nema is part of the Tunsi. Now the Tunsi they were the indigenous people of Isla Nublar, and I think we can also assume Isla Sorna and maybe the surrounding areas. It hasn't really been mentioned. It was a small part of Jurassic Park the game, and that's when it first came into existence, and it really wasn't a big part of the plot or anything like that. But it is worth noting that on the Masrani website it was talked about again, and Jake Johnson, or Lowry I guess in this case, said that Masrani didn't stay in Jurassic World in a hotel, but that he lived with the indigenous population, the Tunsi. So that is a suggestion that somewhere on Isla Nublar there is a existing population of the Tunsi still alive, and perhaps with architecture in their area resembling what we've been looking at already in today's video. This is, I would say, a little bit unlikely, but it would be a really nice nod to the deeper canon. It doesn't need to particularly link with Nublar or Masrani or Nema Cruz or Jurassic Park the game, but using the Tunsi instead would I think be pretty cool. Now, the next bunch of photos don't come from Real News Hawaii, although they did share them. They come from Nathan_Paul73. So big shout out to them. Definitely go give them some love on Twitter as well. Let's take a look. There's some new stuff here as well. But first, we're going to start with a little bit more architecture. Not really much to add on this. This is just, I don't know how they got these, by the way. Did they sneak onto the set? I'm assuming so. These are really high quality photos. Good job. This is just pieces of fake architecture being ready, being prepped in order to, you know, build the set. And we've got a couple different shots of these, the sort of bridge work or the sort of archway work that's going to be used a little bit later on. Now, I've already linked this with the Tun Sea, but that's not the only indigenous references or indigenous populations we've seen mention of in Jurassic Park's wider canon. This is going to be relevant again later on, so just take a look at this. So this is Jurassic Park Trespasser, my beloved, and it is like the only Jurassic Park property that really contains ruins per se, or this kind of sort of ancient architecture in this sort of way that resembles what we've seen in this film already. There's no other Jurassic Park media out there that really has this kind of thing, but it is there in Jurassic Park Trespasser, and I would say it looks vaguely similar to what we've seen already so far. It's not just ruins though, we also have our first big prop shot here of what looks to be an abandoned, crashed, destroyed helicopter. And you get a full view of it there. We've got sort of the control work on the left hand side. You see there it's overgrown, there's roots crawling through it, there's leaves springing out of it, there's dead leaves hanging off it. You can also see in the distance, in the very far distance there, it says entry to a waterfall nature trail. We know they're filming at the waterfall nearby. But the helicopter looks military, right? It's not a tourism helicopter necessarily, it looks military grade. Now maybe you can do tours in this sort of thing, but there's no branding for like a tour or anything like that. It looks more like you'd use it for an expedition, you'd use it for search and rescue, you'd use it in some official capacity, or maybe it's like an off-market Huey taken from the black market, you know. But either way, it doesn't feel like this is a tour gone wrong. It looks like maybe they specifically meant to go into the jungle and then things have gone badly from there. Or indeed, they could just find it. You never know. We can see at the side here, it says C701. Now, I did Google C701 in relation to helicopters. I did find reference to C701 as a Huey helicopter part. Well, it only cost like $2, so I don't know. It wasn't like a big thing. Again, not much to read into this too much, but again, that says military. Not only does it have a code, a designation, you know, to recognize that vehicle, but as you can see, the text has been sort of stenciled on in the way that they do with military vehicles. And I mentioned Trespasser earlier. It's just worth mentioning that there was a storyline in Trespasser about a crashed helicopter. I'm not saying these are linked, but if you wanted to pull from something for like a deep cut Jurassic Park film, I think Trespasser would be a pretty cool thing to do. And it's just interesting to see that we've got a couple of things already that do pull from Trespasser. I don't expect it to be relevant at all, but maybe they have used it as some form of inspiration. Either way, we've got an abandoned, crashed military helicopter, we've got a ton of different ruins, and we've got some dramatic lighting effects. It's definitely coming together. Really excited to see what happens over the next few weeks. Again, I love this kind of stuff. This stuff makes me so happy just digging into this and seeing what's happening and kind of like trying to piece together a little bit of plot from these scant little offerings we get. But exciting times. Do you have any thoughts, any speculations as to what all this could mean? Let me know down below. I don't want to do these videos every time we get set photos unless it's something humongous, but you know, I'm going to try to, if it happens across a week and we get a bunch, we'll do these kind of like collations and we'll bring them all together and speculate from there. Either way, very excited to see what happens. Very curious to see what's happening in Malta as well. They're building the set right now. Who knows where that's going to go? Is it the return of Sayona? Who knows? Either way, let me know what you think down below. I'll see you lovely folks very soon. Thanks for joining me. Cheers, much love as always. Bye-bye.